This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction to every single game, including, including frustrating ones like today. My name is Jonathan Shields. You can follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields, and I'm going to be with you for every single one of those Rays games. I'm part of the Rays POSTCAST on the Locked On Network. If you guys are watching live, make sure you leave a like and comment. If you guys are watching the replay, also make sure to leave a like and comment. I feel like we'll have more people watching the replay as today's Mother's Day, and the live is going on right kind of during the heart of when a lot of people would do festivities and whatnot. And this one, we're going to be talking about the Rays and a bunch of the missed opportunities that they had. We're going to talk about Drew Rasmussen's outing. We're going to talk about the Rays winning the series but losing the homestand. And we're going to talk, and then we're going to look ahead to the Rays getting back on the road, which have treated the Rays very good as of late. But first, we're going to be talking about how the Rays really just miss out on a bunch of opportunities.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Just so the reason why this game was so frustrating was the Rays had multiple chances while they were winning or tied to step ahead and put the game away. And then while they were losing, they still had chances to get back in the game, but kind of shot themselves back in the foot. You know, the first example is in the bottom of the fourth, and there was some real positives to take out of that half inning. We saw Meisner, who I said yesterday was putting together some really good at bats. He kind of breaks out of his slump with a single. You know, Janikowski. Again, then Cabby does a sat fly, ties the game at 2. Then Janikowski, who continues to just be a great depth piece and a great add by Eric Nylander in this front office. Then you get the second and third with less than 2 outs. And Taylor Walls comes up, and Taylor Walls was great this homestand. He's been great in the month of May, but again, the Rays emphasize scoring the runner from third all spring, and it is tough to you're not going to score every one. But there are big moments in a game, and that kind of felt like a swing moment. It's like, okay, are the Rays going to take the lead and take control of this game, or are they just going to miss out on this opportunity there? They missed out on this opportunity. And then, in the top of the fifth, the Brewers, retake the lead. And then in the bottom of the fifth, again, the Rays keep applying pressure. And I like that Kevin Cash didn't mess around. He immediately went to Junior, right, with 2 outs, but it shouldn't have even got to that because the Rays, once again, had people in scoring position with less than 2 outs. In fact, they had first and second with nobody out. And we're going to talk about Yandy later. As Chandler Simpson, he was fantastic today. But, and we're going to get to our turning point here because in the bottom of the fifth, the Rays, again, just had a chance to take this game over.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And the turning point is when the Rays had first and second, no one out in the fifth inning with Yandy Diaz up. Yandy was really bad this series. Yandy's now 1 for his last 16. He's in a little mini slump. And when he gets out, you're like, oh, that's not great because the Brewers starter wasn't great. It's not the Brewers in general aren't just a kind of a blow you away team. And Patrick, who we talked about yesterday, had some of the walk problems. And again, he walked Brandon Lau to get to first and second, nobody out. And would just like to see Yandy, at least get the runners over, at least get Simpson to third. It couldn't do that. And then they bring in Tyler Alexander against Jonathan Aranda. Jonathan Aranda is 6 for his last 13. So he gets a little bit more leniency. So that's why my turning point is before that with Yandy. And, it's unfair to put those kind of expectations that I have on Yandy because I have the expectations that Yandy is going to give you a great at-bat and do a job almost every time. And that's just not baseball. I get that. But he just we've seen Yandy take more unlike Yandy swings more in this series than any time else the rest of the year. Even his at bat in the ninth, he was in the 8th or 9th inning. The check swing kind of slow grounder to second. It was the 9th inning. It's very un-Yandy like, and obviously he's going to turn around. Like I said, he's again still no one I trust more, even with Jonathan Aranda being on a heater right now, than Yandy Diaz. But that's why I picked it as a turning point because it felt like again the Rays could recapture that momentum that the Brewers took. But when they didn't, it kind of really felt like that the Rays let that moment slip away. And again, we go to the 7th, and the Rays get on. Danny Jansen just secretly continues to extend that on-base streak. And I don't love that Cash put Morel in to pinch run because I think Morel's an awful base runner, first of all. But not to mention, Jansen was most likely going to get another at bat in this game. And it didn't get to that. If Walls would have gotten on, if someone else would have gotten a hit, then the catcher position would have came up, the 9-hole position would have came up. And I'd rather have Danny Jansen there than Ben Rortvedt, who's been probably the worst hitter in Major League Baseball this year. And you pinch run him for Christopher Morel, who's not a good base runner. And then, boom, it's just a double play. And Chandler Simpson, it takes such a specific way to get him to get doubled up. And now he got doubled up the last two, at least twice his homestand, and just bang plays. And because he's so fast, you don't expect that to happen. And then right when Brandon Lau got robbed, right, with the second baseman just made a fantastic play on a line drive. I was just like, yeah, maybe today's not the Rays day, because the Brewers had, the Yelich home run was kind of fluky. The Contreras one wasn't. Contreras, by the way, is a heck of a player. He might be one of the more underrated players. Obviously, we don't go see him a lot because the Brewers are in the National League, but he is really freaking good. And then, so right when, those two things happen, you're like, okay, kind of not the Rays day today. And then you keep going on, and the breaks just weren't following the Rays way today like they were the previous 2 days. And that happens in baseball. 162 games, you still got to be happy about the Rays taking 2 or 3 from the Brewers. So before we keep on going, if you guys are in the live, make sure you leave a like and comment. Tell me what you guys are doing for Mother's Day. Obviously, anything about the game as well. My mom's favorite player is Brandon Lau. So if your moms have any favorite players, make sure you drop those in there as well. And like always, we'll be getting to the comments at the end of the live. And we're going to talk about Drew Rasmussen's outing and how to look at this homestand, because started off rough, ended well. How do we look at it going forward right after this? This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. This episode is also brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. There's so many different varieties of pistachios that you can't really go wrong with any of them. I like the no-shell variety because it just provides something quick before I go lift. Just on a road trip, makes it very easy, but you can never go wrong with flavors like the classic shell variety. Get snackin and get crackin with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. As we're going to talk about Drew Rasmussen, and I was literally about to tweet out the Drew Rasmussen, the first 3 innings, that might have been the best Drew Rasmussen we've seen this year. Just those 3 innings. And the first inning especially, just so efficient. He was in the zone. I mean, he finished, he went 5 innings and he only threw 72 pitches. He was efficient as ever today, which was good to see. In the 4th inning, he was, like I said, he was cruising, and then the back-to-back home runs. And it's just like, oh, man, I mean, that's how baseball works. Just a snap of the finger, and all of a sudden you're down after you were just cruising. And I think there's more positive than negatives to take out of this outing for Drew, because, again, he was wildly efficient. He was in the zone. His fastball, I mean, I forget who was struck out, but he painted 97 right in the inside corner. I'm like, yeah, that's Drew Rasmussen before he got hurt. Just painting that fastball. His fastball was his best pitch. That sweeper showed up a few times today as well. But again, I tried to look big picture with the Rays starting pitching before McClanahan comes back. And where do you rate these pitchers? And comment down below, how would you rate the Rays starting pitchers? And I think Rasmussen is that 2 or 3 right now. And if Rasmussen is a 3, that's a heck of a 3.5. Because I think when you come back, it's going to go McClanahan, Baz, Rasmussen, Pepio, and then Bradley and Littell is the 6th starter. Like, when the Rays get healthy, they're going to be scary, and they got to go out, to Toronto and go win another series, against another AL East team. First time they played Toronto this year. But I say that to say, I think as Rays fans, we got kind of spoiled with the starting pitching. And the starting pitching, going 6 innings, 1 run. And when you look from, a far away view, that Drew Rasmussen was very good today. And yes, he had that shaky 4th inning. Yes, he had, not his best stuff in the 4th or 5th innings, but he was, again, I think it might have been the best he's been through the first 3 innings. And again, he only ended up giving up 4 hits and then 2 runs as well. So I thought he was really good. And then let's look at this homestand from a a bigger picture, because obviously it starts off super frustrating, getting swept by the Phillies. They should have won that last game. You think about it, you win that last game against the Phillies, you go 3-3 on the homestand instead of 2-4. So the Rays sit now just 4 games below 500. But I'm telling you, this road trip, just like they went to Arizona and then San Diego, this road trip is easier. And the Rays have an opportunity to make up a lot of ground because they're going to Toronto, then going to Miami. So again, the key for me, go 4-2, go win 2 series, go sweep a series, and go 1-2. Like the key for the Rays is to get back home after the road trip, 2 games below 500, and then you keep climbing from there until you get some of your guys back. Hopefully Josh Lowe comes back, and hopefully that lineup can just continue to lengthen out. But how do you look at this homestand? Are you more, and let me guys know in the comments, are you guys more supportive of it because of how the Rays finished, or are you more disappointed because of how just awful the Philly series was and how kind of frustrating today was because the Rays just couldn't come through in some of those key moments? But yeah, I don't really know how to look at it. I think that outside of the second game against the Phillies, the Rays were really good all homestand. You could argue they could have had a 5-1 homestand. They probably should have, maybe not should have won. They were in the first game against the Phillies. Obviously, that's the game where Englert went in the 8th in a 1-run game and everything split from there. And then, the second game against the Phillies was the only game where Rays just really weren't competitive. They should have won the last game against the Phillies. I would say they should have won the first 2 against the Brewers, obviously, because they did. And then they had the opportunities to win today. So I think all in all, the Rays took a step forward during this homestand. And that's all you can ask for a team that's still dealing with the amount of injuries that the Rays are dealing with, is many victories that can, be like, okay, when everyone comes back, we can expect the team ceiling to be here. And then, like I said, we're going to look ahead real quick. I already gave you guys the breakdown who the Rays are going to be playing on their road trip. So the Rays are going to Toronto for 3. They're going to go to Miami for 3. And then they come back and play Houston and Toronto again. So for Toronto, again, the Rays are going to be facing Toronto's ace. They're going to be facing Jose Barrios, who so far this year is 1-1 with a 3.86 ERA and 45 strikeouts. That is a lot of strikeouts. Just looking at his last few games, he's had at least 8 strikeouts in the last 2 games, and he's had 4 games already this year with 6 or more strikeouts. So he's the Blue Jays' best pitcher. The Rays are going to get him early in the series. And, the Rays, outside of that, and, I'll take Boz over a lot of pitchers in the series. The Rays have a starting pitching advantage. And the second game with Pepio against Bassett, and then Littell versus Gosman. Gosman, I feel like always pitches against the Rays really well. He's a veteran experience. So, again, go take 2 out of 3. Then you can, talk about not just treading water, but finally getting your head above water and kind of starting to break through. Just a few more notes before we get to the comments. So if you guys are in the live, make sure you comment down below. We're about to get into them as well. Leave a like and comment as well. So this was the first time the Brewers have won a game where they didn't score first. I thought that was incredible. And then I think just another big key going forward, talk about how good Aranda was. He got 6 hits in his last whatever game. He's 6 for his last 13. He's 13 out of 27 in May. That is really freaking good for Jonathan Aranda, having his breakout year. The Rays need more from the heart of their lineup outside Jonathan Aranda. I'm just waiting for the time where Brandon Lau and Yandy get hot at the same time, because that's when I think the Rays can, like I said, get their head above water, not just tread water. And, also with Junior, I mean, Junior's been hit or miss. Junior had a sneaky 6-game hitting streak coming into this game. But, he's like 21 years old. It's going to happen. Those are bats for young players. Some are going to be really good and elite. Some are going to be really bad, like that double play he just rolled over the first pitch. So that's kind of some more points that I wanted to hit. Like I said, Yandy's 1 for his last 16. Brandon Lau is 3 out of 27 in May. If those guys can get rolling at the same time, I'm a big, the thing about baseball, it's the law of averages. If Yandy is the last 3 years, Yandy's a 290 hitter. He's hitting like 239 right now. Eventually, it's going to even out. Brandon Lau is at least like a 230 hitter. He's hitting below 200. So that's going to even out eventually. Let's just hope it all evens out at the same time. The Rays can really start winning some games. Let's get to the comments as we go to Jack's takes. First, he says, another shoulda, coulda, woulda game. I agree. Just those missed opportunities. It is just tough. As we go to Gary, win or lose, this is the most important thing that matters today. Happy Mother's Day. I agree. I love my mom. She's my biggest fan. My entire family super supportive. You probably see him in here in the comments a lot. But yeah, big shout out to all the mothers out there. As we go to Gary again, he says Jonathan Aranda has been solid, most pleasant surprise this season. Yeah, him and Shane Baz at the beginning of the year have been by far the most surprising. It's been much needed. Where would this Rays offense be without Jonathan Aranda? I mean, they would be the worst in baseball right now. As we go back to Gary, and this is a really good question. Should the Rays start thinking about minor league options to replace the struggling Ben Rortvedt? Yes, because he doesn't do one thing well. All right, that's not true. He's a Major League Baseball player. He's very good at baseball. He doesn't do one thing at like a great to an elite level. He's not like a great defensive player. He's not even a good offensive player. So when you're playing that guy 3 times a week, most likely, that's what you're going to get. And I would start playing Danny Jansen as much as, he says he can play and how much he can take, obviously with the catcher and with his knees. As we go, speaking of my mother, she says Brandon Lau is struggling. I told you guys this is that's her favorite player. Dawson, what's going on with him? I think sometimes he's just trying to do too much. And Brandon Lau, I think, is extremely hard on himself. And you can tell he kind of like yells at himself after he strikes out and kind of just really gets down on stuff. So I think he's just pressing at times. And I feel like someone just needs to tell Brandon Lau, and he knows this himself, like he's been a very good major league hitter for the last, almost decade now. So I have no doubt eventually he's going to get hot. Brandon Lau gets hot every year. I just know that it's coming. As we go to Mike H, where's Chandler rank among base running speeds? The fastest I've seen in a long time. He is first right now in home to first speed. I believe he was clocked. It was like 3.04, which is like insane. I might be wrong. I'm trying to remember that off memory because they showed it on the Bally broadcast, or the Bally FanDuel Sports Network broadcast, the one of the other games. As we go to 8, Rizal, he said the back-to-back home runs killed the 5. I agree. He was that. Like I said, Drew was cruising until his back-to-back home runs, and then it just kind of went all downhill from there. So we're going to bring back Francisco Mejia. As my sister Pistachios says, how can Yandy get out of this slump? I wouldn't even say it's a slump. I did say, he's won for his last 16. It's a mini slump. But he, I think that he just looks really uncomfortable. And when I say he looks uncomfortable, he is expanding his zone, which he never does. He is behind on the fastball because when Yandy is on, he's hitting the fastball on the barrel. So I think those are 2 things to look out for as the Rays go on the road. So as we go to Mike, the Rays are doing better as a team lately. Yeah. So that kind of goes to the question as, how do you feel after this homestand? Do you feel, positive? Do you feel negative? Where do you feel going to Toronto? So look, the Rays go 4-2 on this road trip. That's the goal. Come back only 2 games below 500. Then the Astros come in. You see the Blue Jays again. So that should be the goal. And I'm sure it is the goal for the Rays. And hopefully we get some good news on the Josh Lowe front coming during the homestand or the road trip as well. So we're going to wrap it there. I appreciate all you guys joining during Mother's Day. If you guys are watching the replay, make sure you guys leave a like and comment. And I just, we're no game tomorrow. So the Blue Jays series is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they play 6 straight games, really like the Rays have been doing since the first, the last like 3 weeks or so. So no game tomorrow. I will see you guys all on Tuesday. I hope that you guys have a great Mother's Day and a great rest of your day. See you guys later.